So next up, as we talk about diagrams, another diagram that has really grown in popularity is the affinity diagram. And I like this particular methodology with some caveats. Okay, what I really like about this is it gets people up and moving, gets people out of the desk chairs, and can be a pretty effective tool when we think about um, facilitating open dialogue to solve problems. So in an earlier video, I talked about how, you sometimes might have that, overbearing or brash boss that'll, kind of squash an idea before someone even gets a chance to fully explain it. If you're in that environment, the affinity diagram is a great way to kind of help overcome that. If you can't have that candid dialogue with the boss to say, hey, you really need to dial it down, you're kind of squelching a lot of potential good ideas here. So the affinity diagram can work pretty well in this situation. And there's really kind of 5 steps to work through the affinity diagram. And what's interesting is, me being a tech guy, these other diagrams we can do with technology through a number of different tools. The affinity diagram is very different from that, in simply that to do that affinity diagram, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand out a bunch of post-it notes to people, and they're going to start writing down ideas. Okay, so first we identify the issue. Okay, so we all agree as a group what the actual problem is, right? And I remember one boss I had, one thing he used very clear vernacular, and what he always say is, what is the problem statement? And he would ask you to articulate that, and then he would articulate it back to you and say, what I heard you say was, do you agree? If we reach consensus, we would then move forward. So step 1, identify the issue. Step 2, this is where those post-it notes come in, is we brainstorm solution and ideas. The important thing here is this is we say a safe space, a judgment-free zone. Anything at all can go down on these post-it notes. Okay, so we write them down. The important thing is we put one idea only per post-it note. Now, I've been in these sessions before where they'll say each person can create 5. I've been in some where they say each person can create 1. I'm not a fan of just 1 because usually each person is good for multiple potential ideas. Okay, so it is good to set a parameter though. So I err on the higher side of it. And it's what's going to happen is if you allow people to do more than a handful, is you get some duplication. And duplication in this case is not bad at all, because if suddenly I have 4 people that have all said the exact same idea, then that tells me, hey, we might be onto something here. Okay, so that's step 2. I brainstorm solution ideas, I document those out in the post-it note, and I slap them up on the wall. The nice thing about this is I'll say it's somewhat anonymous. And why I say somewhat anonymous is if somebody sees you put that idea up, they would obviously know it's you. In my situation, I have absolutely atrocious penmanship. So my handwriting is just incredibly poor. So someone would be able to decipher, hey, that was Dave's idea, because we know his penmanship is very, very bad. Then we work as a group to silently sort, and we kind of vary in methodology here. Some people will say, no, we talk this out loud. Other people say, no, we just work as a group to silently put them into logical divisions, if you will. Okay. So then we start to look at, does an idea fit in more than one category? And if so, we duplicate it and we put it in more than one place. Okay, and then we remove any true duplicates. What I like to do is, if like 4 people have brought forth the same idea, I'll keep all of those post-it notes, but I'll stack them on top of each other in a fashion so that we can see that all of them are there, that nobody's idea got thrown away. Okay, and then last, we sit down as a group. It's best if we do this in a very large room, and where we can start to talk and everyone can see where everyone put the post-it notes up. And this is also oftentimes a really good exercise to kind of think through. As we've seen office spaces evolve, kind of my perfect place to do this is in a conference room. We're seeing more offices that have this, where the entire walls are all whiteboard walls, so we can start to doodle on the walls and start to make those markings of what we think. So, again, those are the 5 steps. So, we identify the issue, we brainstorm solution ideas with the post it notes, we silently sort them, we identify standalone ideas and then work with our duplicates, and then we talk it out. Okay. What I like to do when I do this particular exercise is, depending on the scale of your problem, will depend on how long this takes to work through. Um, what I like to do, though, in a perfect world, if you have no barriers to this, is maybe do like a late morning session and get through the first 4 steps. By now, everyone has sorted, they've put ideas up on the board, then provide lunch. Okay. Take a break, get people out of that room to where they're not staring at those post it notes, and bring in lunch. Okay. And just organically, if you do this right, people will start to talk about it. Take a nice break for lunch, make your way back into the room, and work out step 5. Okay. So that is the affinity diagram.